Like Vasa, because you're talking and I'm like,
Yeah. So you say what you want.
I don't know, maybe I should say hi, hello
Yeah.
guys, maybe,
Okay.
I don't know.
Hi guys, welcome to About Ukraine, and we're not traveling right now to any city, unfortunately, but we thought we're gonna, make a video here about Kyiv and about the cost of living in Ukraine because a lot of people are wondering what it's like.
Yeah. I just don't know about what you want to film, dear.
Hey guys, welcome to About Ukraine, another episode about Ukraine, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about Kyiv, Ukraine, and what it's like to live here, but more to the point, I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost of living in Kyiv, Ukraine in 2021. And Ukraine is a tricky country. The currency kind of goes up and down all the time, and what was true last year or 2 years ago probably isn't true right now. So it pays to pay attention if you're thinking of moving to Ukraine, if you're just thinking of traveling to Ukraine, or if you're just curious about what it's like to live in Kyiv. You come to the right place, and in this video I'm going to explain to you guys in detail what you can expect to spend in Ukraine. So we're going to divide this video into a bunch of little sections of like things like food, household expenses, your rent, your utilities, entertainment, like lifestyle, your little things like that, and then transportation and that kind of thing as well, like savings and stuff. We're gonna, that's up to you. How much you have, how much you want to save, and that kind of stuff. So let's start with number one. The most important thing that we all need to do is eat, and let's start with just the basic stuff you can buy in the grocery stores, right? Let's start with things like tomatoes, right? You can expect to pay about $1 a pound for tomatoes. For things like cucumbers, maybe 20 cents a pound. You're looking at avocados like $1, $2 a pound. Piece. So basically that's the kind of price that you have. For things like potatoes, maybe like even less, like maybe 10 cents a pound. If you're looking at in-season vegetables, it's relatively cheap in that sense. If you're looking at chicken, you're looking at $1.50 a pound. Of meat is about $2 a pound, that kind of stuff. And one thing that's relatively pricey is salmon. You're looking at $7 a pound if you want to buy some salmon. It's relatively pricey because most of it is imported, and that stuff that's imported is usually what you pay the premium for, right? Then you have the milk products like cheese. You're looking at $1 for 100 grams. Milk for about $1 a liter as well. For eggs, you're looking for like $1 a dozen. So these are the prices that you're looking at. You want to buy like a juice, like orange juice or something like that. It's also about $1 a liter. So it's relatively stable with these kinds of things. If you want to get into alcoholic beverages like maybe vodka or something like that, or a bottle of wine, local stuff is relatively cheap. You can find some pretty good craft beer for like $2 a bottle. You can find some local beers for $1 a bottle, that kind of stuff. So that's basically what you're looking for. And then when you want to get into household things like that, things like toilet paper, right? For example, the hygiene products, looking at $1.50 for maybe some like a pack of 4. Things like like just regular household like cleaners and stuff. You're looking at maybe like $1 or so for like some sponges, I don't know, something like that. If you're looking at laundry detergent, right, you're looking at maybe $2 for like a liter or more. So in general, what I'm trying to get at is that you can expect, depending on what you're eating, like if you're buying a lot of these imported foods, they're going to bring the price up. But you're looking at about $110 a month when it comes to food. If you look for one person, for two, I would say you have to multiply that by 2. You're gonna end up spending more money. You should expect to pay about $110 a month. The second big thing that you're gonna have to end up paying here is obviously utilities. Utilities is something that varies depending on whether you're living in Ukraine in the summer or in the winter. Obviously, you pay a lot more in the winter because if you're hooked up to the grid, you have to pay heating, right? And heating, whether you're hooked up to the grid or you're using electric baseboard heater, you're going to be paying way more money. And you're looking at another $20 a month or $30 a month premium in the winter. But in general, I think you should expect to pay about $50 to $60 a month. If you live in an apartment, you're going to have to pay communal costs. They're about $15 a month or so. Whenever somebody comes into your apartment, they can ring you up. You sort of pay for that as well. It's a few dollars a month, not much. And then what you have to pay is also electricity, and you have to pay for water. Water is another, I would say, it's depending on how much you use and whether or not you have a meter, you probably pay another like $6 or something like that. It's not much. The biggest one really is electricity, and electricity you're looking at $10-20, something around that, in that range, depending on how much you use. Obviously, if you have electric heaters, if you have air conditioning, if you're working from home and you need high-speed internet, that kind of thing. Again, in general, I think you should probably be okay with $50 to $60 a month to budget for your utilities. The biggest cost, undoubtedly, you're going to run into is housing. And housing is, in Kyiv, Ukraine, is constantly going up and up and up. It seems that way. It's the capital. It's where everything, all the action is, right? And you can expect to start looking at around, I would say, high 300s a month, $380 to $400 a month. You should probably expect to pay for like a good one-bedroom apartment. You have a bedroom and a living room, that sort of thing, in a relatively like not nice apartment. Really, it's not going to be nice. It's going to be Soviet apartment, which is the majority of apartments here, and there's quite a lot of them. I did a search recently for about $380, give or take, which is 10,000 hryvnias. And I had about 400 results of apartments that look relatively the same. They look the same. They're Soviet, but inside you have a plus minus decent sort of renovation done to it. It's obviously not original furniture, not original, maybe original appliances, but most likely not original appliances, and not original, obviously, kitchen cabinets and that kind of stuff. So you can expect to see relatively somewhat okay standard of living there. AC is extra. You may have to budget for that as well, or if you're lucky enough to find an apartment with it, it's going to be great, right? You have to also understand that these apartments are not going to be in the center. If you're looking to live specifically in the center, you're looking to be like really close to the metro, you may going to have to raise it up to past 400, maybe 450 to 500. But you have to keep in mind that over $500 for a two-room or one-bedroom apartment, that is considered to be on a high side, and most locals in Ukraine are not going to be able to afford that kind of living for themselves. So you have to understand sort of where you fit in the market as well. The fourth category I'm going to talk about now is lifestyle/entertainment, and I lump it all in one category because it really depends on the person, right? It depends on you, how much you like to spend going out and that kind of stuff. But for me, I personally think that to have a good time on a weekend, maybe go out like on a day trip, go out in a restaurant, have some fun, watch a game, whatnot, you should probably budget for about 1,000 hryvnias per weekend. So that turns out to be about 4,000 hryvnias, which is about $150 a month. For everything else, like lifestyle costs, things like clothes, maybe get a haircut, you want to go to maybe a salon or something like that. Perhaps you want to go and just take care of yourself. I would say that is going to be another $50, give or take. And for clothes are a pretty big expense in Ukraine. I would say you're looking at another 1,000 hryvnias for clothes. So you double. Say I just mentioned $150. Add another $150 for everything else. If you want to buy let's say you want to buy 3 t-shirts a month, you want to buy some shoes once a month, you want to buy jeans, whatever, like maybe not okay jeans, but maybe not like very high quality shoes. Again, you're looking at another $150 a month. So together, right there is $300 a month for your lifestyle plus minus costs that you have to take into account. But of course, I have to stress that it has to depend on you, right? If you're like more of a homebody, you want to sit at home, you don't want to go out too much, that's obviously going to go down. But I still think that you should budget for that $100 to $150 if you want to in shape. Oh, by the way, keeping yourself in shape, I forgot about the gym memberships. And gym memberships, again, it's relatively pricey in Ukraine because you either have like really crude outdoor gyms or like playgrounds, or maybe has a monkey bar where you can kind of pull yourself up a little bit, or go running in the morning, or you can go to the gym, and gyms are relatively pricey. Again, you're looking at something like, I would say, a good $20 a month, maybe more than that, depending on if your gym has a pool, if you're getting premium services, if you're getting a trainer, it's going to go up from there, right? so you have to budget for that as well. And then we're getting into things like telecommunications, you're getting into internet, we're getting into cell phone plans. That kind of stuff is also really cheap in Ukraine. You're looking at about $6 a month for internet, $6 a month for phone, depending on your plan. Again, it's a cheap internet plan will probably be $6 a month. It can go up to $10 a month. The last thing I think you gotta also keep in mind is transportation. This is another interesting one. I think that if you take into account that the majority of public transit costs about 8 hryvnias a ride, you're looking at, if you're going to take 4 trips, for example, a day over the course of a month, you're looking at about $50 a month if you're just going to take public transit, right? On the weekends, you want to take your Uber, you want to take a taxi. I think you got to double that. Add another $50. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to take 3 trips on the weekend, 4 trips around there. If you have a car, again, you have to look at buying a car. I mean, that's at least $5,000 you gotta spend for a car. Then you have your registration, which is another $1,000. So I mean, I'm ignoring that. The upkeep and gasoline, you're looking at, again, depending on how much you drive. If you have a gasoline car or diesel car, probably $200 a month, depending on how much you drive in the city. And insurance is relatively cheap. Just liability insurance, you're looking at about $15 to $20 a year, so you're pretty much not paying anything during the month. So the majority of your expenses are going to be your gas and your maintenance. So I think that about covers it. That about covers everything you can expect to pay here in Ukraine. And when I added all of that up, it went just a hair over $1,000 a month. Plus or minus, that is basically what you're looking to pay here in Ukraine for your basic necessities. Plus and minus a few maybe leisure activities, a few nights out on town here and there, day trip. You're living like a relatively nice normal life. So now, to be a little bit more objective, I'm going to bring over Irichka and I'm going to talk a little bit about like salaries and stuff.
Hi guys.
So Irichka's here. So I'm gonna start off by saying the obvious. I mean, you can't hide from reality, and the reality is that Ukrainians don't make too much money. The salaries are not nearly as close to what they would be in Western Europe. And there's this website called work.ua. It's a website where people go to look for work. Basically, they take all of the postings, job postings on that site, and then they give you the average salary that people ask. And that average salary was 17,000 hryvnia, 600, 700
dollars.
Yes.
Average. I don't know. It's like it's depends on what are you doing and what work you have. Because, for example, if you are like in low level, you can make like 10,000 and you can live on the money.
Wow.
But it's I don't think it's normal life, because you just eat and you can save. You can't save for like some trips, some clothes that you have to buy, because clothes where it's not cheap in Kyiv. For example, if you want to go somewhere in some trip, maybe to Odessa or something in Ukraine, you have to save something. But if you make 10,000, it's not so possible.
You would have to save for like a few months to go to Odessa in the summer.
Of course, yes.
Wow.
But I want to say that people live on this money. You understand? For 10,000, you can live on this money, but you can have only food and not enjoy the life. So it's like low level of salary, but it's considered that in Kyiv the average salary I think it's maybe like 15,000-20,000.
So my question is this: somebody is living an average salary life, sort of like a professional of some sort that's trying to work his way up. He's making $600. What can he cut? Because I obviously counted up $1,000, $1,100 maybe even dollars. Where can that person cut out his expenses? He obviously will probably have to look for an apartment, $300 a month. You could probably find something, right? But maybe he can spend less on food, not buy imported food, not buy brand name clothes, not buy any kind of like expensive clothes or appliances or household goods. If you're making $600 a month,
it's considered like normal money when you have your own apartment. Because if you don't have it and you rent it, it's not normal, because you live in like six.
I want to mention something really interesting. You just mentioned that it's good to have your own apartment. And if you don't have your own apartment, you have to rely on paying rent. It eats up a lot of your money. That is true. However, I must point out that it is true that Ukrainians historically have had a very high level of home ownership. So you end up having statistics like 80% of people in Ukraine own their own apartment. But what that is that is not really like an honest, true statistic, because it's a consequence of the Soviet Union, right? The Soviet Union fell apart. All the people in 1991, they became owners of those apartments. Right away, those apartments on the free market, they cost money. They were worth something, maybe $20,000, whatever, right? $10,000, and then they kept going up and up and up. So these people, they have inherited that. If you're looking at younger people, like myself, like people who've entered the job market, they had to rent. They had to rent. Not a very fair comparison, and it seems like you have this generational clash. You have the two generations that have had different head starts on life. One generation had one head start and had a different sort of, they were living through a different world where Soviet Union fell apart, where things were uncertain. And then you have a different generation that is forced to live in this very, very competitive, capitalistic market. I think there's inaccessible housing for younger people, and there's also inaccessible purchasing also. It's difficult to purchase something because it's difficult to get loans, it's difficult to get approved for loans, their interest rates are very high, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think people have no choice but to rent. And the people that do have these apartments, older generation, the baby boomers perhaps, they have their apartment. I think many of them do. Let's say they end up dying, or maybe they end up giving the apartment to the children. The children end up renting it out too, because many of them end up renting it out. Many of them end up selling it, right? So it really depends on the situation. I don't know, dear. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you. I guess my question is, what do you like and what do you don't like about Kyiv?
About Kyiv?
Yeah.
It's expensive, but it has a lot of cool views here, and you can go somewhere to have active vacation here. So I like it. Maybe because what I don't like in Kyiv, maybe because of bumps here. A lot of bumps here.
But most of them are, sometimes you can't tell if it's a bomb or if it's just a poor person, because the line is not very clear sometimes.
I don't like in Kyiv that there is a lot of cars here. It's dirty air, and I don't like it. I'm like a person of nature, so I would like to go to some nature, to have fresh nature air.
To conclude, you can probably expect to spend $1,100-ish to sustain yourself, to cover everything, all your needs. But it's obviously going to be a lot higher than what most people end up spending here, and you have to also keep that in mind. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me think if you're coming to Kyiv, if you're living in Kyiv, and how much you're paying. If you think my opinion and what I've just mentioned here is accurate, let me know what you think, and like and subscribe, and all the usual stuff. And
see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.